let's talk about Texas, man. You said you wanted to say something controversial before we started, so I just
Steve.
I don't know if you want to get
Sarkisian,
straight into it, but
Steve Sarkisian was hired by the Texas Longhorns.
Okay.
This is not me bashing these coaches. This is not me saying these coaches are not going to be good in their careers. This is not me saying that they cannot coach at the college level or the NFL level or at any level. This is me saying that the school Texas has a bigger ego than they can handle. They are going out here saying that you can't do the horns down and then go out there and mock Drew Lock. You know what I'm saying? They just have too big of an ego. If your name is not Mac Brown and you're the coach of Texas, you're not going to succeed. Tell you that right now. You're not going to succeed. And obviously, you could be like, Nick Saban will. Nick Saban's not going to Texas. Dabo Swinney's not going to Texas. I'm talking about a normal coach like Tom Herman and Steve Sarkisian. If your name is not Mac Brown, you're not succeeding at Texas. That's all I wanted to say.
Because it's like we've seen Steve coach a team before, and then obviously it wasn't that great, but Texas, don't get me wrong, Texas fans are kind of like the equivalent of the Dallas Cowboys. It runs in the family, I guess. Like they're both from Texas.
They have big egos.
I think both teams have the same fans because it's like they every year they feel like they're gonna be like this team. I don't want to hate on Texas. I have no problems with Texas.
I have no problems with that.
I mean, we got some Oklahoma fans in here now.
The only person that I have smoke with that has ever went to Texas.
Oh yeah,
it's Sam Ellinger, man.
Yep.
That video that says we're back. That is the whenever I see that video, its rage just fills my
honestly.
mind.
I didn't even like Texas after we lost that game.
That's the ego part. That's the ego part. Sam Ellinger being we're back, and then what did they want after that? Exactly.
Good question.
Exactly.
Good question.
Tom Herman, I thought he was the answer. He's a great coach. You seen what he did at Houston. That man was beating Oklahoma. He was beating all the top teams. And then he goes to Texas and folds. Texas is not a coaching job that someone would want. I'm going to be honest. If I am offered Texas, let's say, if I'm offered Texas or Texas A&M, I'm taking Texas A&M. Not even just because it's in the SEC. Texas is a bigger school. Anyone would take Texas if they don't think about it, but I'm not taking Texas just because the ego there, the atmosphere there is just so. Okay, look, the fans. I don't have no smoke with the fans, but they're kind of toxic. Anyways, I don't like Texas as a. I'm not saying I don't like Texas as a program. I just think it's hard to succeed at this. It's sort of like the Michigan situation with John Harbaugh. It's hard to. It's going to be hard.
They re-signed him, dude.
Yeah, they re-signed him.
I can't believe that. That's absolutely pathetic. And Matt, that is the dumbest thing I've ever seen. Sports wise, like that's as stupid as it gets. How do you resign? What's his record against Ohio State?
How many every years he coached?
And they thought it was good to give this man a 4-year, 5-year extension. Yeah. Ohio State's going stupid right now. Come on, dude. What were they thinking?
Look, Texas, it's just not an appealing job. It's just not. For me, it's not an appealing job. I wouldn't go there. If I was a coach, I wouldn't go there. Unless I'm going there for the money and to boost my brand, I guess, as a coach to get better offers, I'm not going to Texas. Unless this is NCAA 14, I'm not going to Texas.
I think that's what Steve Sarkisian's doing. I think he's
not just going to stay at Bama. His foot in the door for a head coaching job.
I don't think he's not going to stay at Bama just be an offensive coordinator, but I'm not going to sit here and pretend. I feel like during his time at Bama, he has definitely gotten better as a coach.
Yeah.
Like, look at the stuff he's done with Bama's offense.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, we got the Tua situation. Like we've seen two possibly of the best Bama teams of this decade. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, not this decade, but I can't say this decade because we just switched decades. But I'm gonna say we've seen two of the best Bama teams of this century since 1999. So actually, since 2000 to now, we've seen two of the best Bama teams. Possibly two out of top 3 Bama teams of all time.
The other one's like 2013, man. That 2013.
Yeah, even though that Bama team lost to Clemson, I'm telling you, like that was a top 3 Bama team, bro. That team was dominant. I mean, I think Clemson just got the. It was Trevor Lawerence, man. It was the you know what I'm saying, sunshine. You know what I'm saying? The stuff's gonna happen, but like that Bama team was nearly unstoppable, bro. And I know Georgia nearly beat them, but like I'm telling you, before that game against Georgia, Bama just looked unstoppable that whole season. That's why when Georgia was winning at one point, I was like, well, that's great. Blew it again. But like the stuff that Steve Sarkisian brought to Alabama's offense just cannot be forgotten. So I'm not going to sit here. I'm not going to say Texas doesn't have a chance to be decent at football, because I think that obviously Texas will continue to be decent.
I mean, I think they're a 10-win team every season.
Well, Texas,
it's just I don't feel like it's a job where you can just go in there and you can be like, I'm making this team a playoff contender. I just don't think that's possible.
Oh no. That was the only
really
playoff contender coming out of the Big 12.
That was really my main point there.
The only
I don't
Big
think
12,
that Texas can come out here and be a consistent playoff contender. That was my main point.
That's obvious. But like that's the same thing I thought with Georgia. We'll see. Let's just see what he does. You know, probably if anything, it'll be a second season. Every coach tends to, for some reason, it's always a second season